as we look at this story, we need to understand a couple of things. First of all, why wouldn't he go when he hears? And maybe you are in that position where you're like, God, I'm praying, I'm asking, and I'm needing, and you're not showing up. But as we look at this story, what we need to understand is Jesus came to earth to do one thing, and that was to bring glory to his Father. Amen. So he looked at things through a different lens than you and I look at things. Mary and Martha said, hey, Jesus, you can receive so much glory because Lazarus is about to die. So if you show up now, how incredible will it be when you just come and you touch him and you heal him and now everything's better, and just think of what will happen. But Jesus has one lens that he looks through life through, and that is what will bring the most glory to his Father. What would it look like if we, the church, would begin to try and look at life through that same lens? What if it wasn't about what will make me the most comfortable and what will make God, instead, what will make God the most glorified? Because if we would walk that out, if we would begin to believe that, if we begin to trust that, if we begin to understand that it isn't about our comfort level, it's about his glory level, then all of a sudden it will change the way that we see even our current circumstance. Notice that he says, let's go to Judea, a place where people were beginning to rise up against him. So John chapter 11, verse 8, it says this, but his disciples objected. Rabbi, they said, only a few days ago, the people of Judea were trying to stone you. Are you going there again? And Jesus replied, there are 12 hours of daylight every day. During the day, people can walk safely. They can see because they have the light of the world. But at night, there is a danger of stumbling because they have no light. Then he said, our friend Lazarus has fallen asleep, but now I will go and wake him up. And the disciples said, Lord, if he's sleeping, he will soon get better. They thought Jesus meant Lazarus had simply fallen asleep, but Jesus meant that Lazarus had died. So he told them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and for your sakes, I'm glad I wasn't there, for now you will really believe. Come, let's go see him. Amazing, amazing story, because Jesus kind of talks in these moments where he's giving them little insights as to what's about to happen. And he says to them, hey, there's only so much daylight. In other words, there's only so much time that I'm here, and then I'm going to go. And when I go, then it's going to be even harder, and you need to understand that life is not about being easier for you. It's about understanding that if we live our lives to bring him glory, if we live our lives to make him famous, if we live our lives in such a way that we can do all that we can to shine a light on him, then it may mean that life will be harder for us, but even in that we get to understand that God is always there and he will always show up on our behalf. Amen. Both of our sons are colorblind, and we've offered both of them at different times that we would buy them. I don't know if you've ever seen these. They have the colorblind glasses. So if you're colorblind, you can put on these sunglasses and you'll actually get to see the world the way everybody else. And neither one of them wanted these glasses. They didn't want to know. I don't know if they didn't want to know what they were missing. But I couldn't help but think, as I was thinking about that, about Jesus putting on the lens of understanding that this world is going to pass, that this is temporary, but what he came for was eternal. And if all of a sudden the church would put on these glasses and begin to see things differently and begin to understand, one of the things that you'll see if you get onto the church's website or often in videos, you'll see the tag that says, see church differently. Well, maybe it needs to be, see the world differently. See life differently, because we need to realize that when we begin to live in such a way that we say, God, whatever it takes in my life, whatever turmoil I need to go through so that you can be glorified, I will take it. I will own it. I will walk through it because I trust you. Amen. So Jesus also makes this statement there again about the 12 hours. So he's giving them some insight. And then he says, hey, but Lazarus is asleep. And they're like, oh, okay, Jesus, that's good news. And then he has to speak plainly. How many of you need Jesus to speak plainly to you from time to time? So he's like, no, guys, I'm saying he's dead. All right. Like, you didn't quite get what I was saying at the beginning there, but that's what I meant. Then Jesus says, I'm glad I wasn't there. He sees this as an opportunity to bring glory to God and to strengthen others' faith. Now, I can only imagine if you're friends with Lazarus and you get word, hey, Lazarus is super sick. Jesus, can you show up? and you're the disciples, and you know Jesus can just walk in the room and things can be fixed. That what seems horrible and inevitable, Jesus can walk in the room and it can instantly turn. And so Jesus gets word, and I can only imagine that if you're the disciples, you're like, okay, well, I know where we're going. And Jesus goes, nah, let's wait. Let's hang out for a little bit. Let's just relax. And then they get word that he died, and he said, I'm so glad that I wasn't there. Like, that feels a little heartless, right? But again, Jesus is seeing things through a different lens.